So in today's tutorial, we are going to solve practical questions. We start with the first one there, which is saying ATP hydrolysis powers many cellular processes. Okay, so we have ATP plus water giving us ADP plus phosphate group there. So you know that through ATP hydrolysis, we are going to get our fuel, our energy. Okay, so for us to benefit the energy from ATP, ATP has to undergo hydrolysis, and we've been given a chemical formula for ATP hydrolysis there. Okay, so now, then they are saying at 37 degrees Celsius and pH of 7.0, the standard free energy change, which is the Gibbs free energy, is negative 30.5 kilojoules per mole in a red blood cell. Okay, so here we've been given the concentration of the ATP before it undergoes hydrolysis, then also the ADP that has been formed after the hydrolysis of our ATP, and the concentration of the phosphate group, which has been removed from the ATP. So you know ATP stands for adenyl triphosphate. So we've removed one ATP. That's what we call hydrolysis. So we remove one phosphate group from the three, so we remain with two. That's where the ADP is coming from. Di, meaning two phosphate have remained. Okay, so we've been given the concentration of the products and the concentration of the reactant, which is the ATP undergoing hydrolysis there. Okay, so now the question says, using the information above, calculate the actual free energy change, okay, for the hydrolysis of ATP under the given cellular condition. So we are to calculate the Gibbs free energy, the actual Gibbs free energy for the hydrolysis of ATP there, okay? And we know that Gibbs free energy, okay, Gibbs free energy is given by, okay, so we get the standard Gibbs free energy, okay, so this one is the standard Gibbs free energy, okay, plus RT, so R is the gas rate constant, okay. So the gas rate constant that we're going to be using here is 8.314 joules per mole Kelvin. That's a gas rate constant we're talking about here. Then T is for temperature. Then we get the natural log of Q. Okay. Okay. So now, how do we find this Q? So you notice that if you check in the equation here, we've been given the Gibbs free energy. We know our gas rate constant, and we are being told the temperature at which this reaction is happening, which is 37 degrees Celsius. And we can easily get that temperature in Kelvin by adding 273.15. Okay, so now what we need here is the value of Q. So the question is, how do we calculate the Q? So from the equation that we've been given, this one here, the hydrolysis of ATP, we can get the value of Q. So Q is going to be given by the concentration of the products. Okay, we multiply the concentration of the products that we've been given. Also consider the coefficients that are there. But in this equation, we only have ones as the coefficients. Okay, so in that case, we are only going to get the value of Q to be equal to the concentration of the products that we've been given. We multiply them divided by the concentration of the reactants that we've been given. So this is what we mean. We get the concentration on the product, which is ADP. Okay. ADP there. Plus, okay, sorry. So we are going to multiply with the concentration of our phosphate, another product that we've been given there. Okay. Then we divide with the concentration of the products that we've been given, which is the ATP. So we divide with the concentration of ATP there. Then we are going to find the value of Q. Okay, so we can add our values that we've been given there. So we get the concentration of ADP. and we've been given the concentration of ADP there, which is 2 point, okay, so let me just write the concentration of ATP, which is 2.5 times 10 to the power -4. Okay, so there's -4 there. Okay, so this is the concentration. Remember, we're having coefficients of 1. We are not going to put anything there. Okay, multiplied by the concentration of our phosphate group, the phosphate group that is left there. Okay, so the phosphate group that is for left is having a concentration of 1.65. Okay, so we're going to add that. Okay, 1.65 times 10 to the power -3. Okay, divided by the concentration of the phosphate, the ATP that we've been given as a product there. So the concentration of the ATP in that case is 2.25 times 10 to the power -3. Okay, so there now you can find the value of Q. Remember, this Q is a ratio. It won't have units. Okay, so let's find the value of Q. Then we're going to use it to calculate our Gibbs free energy. Okay, so Q is going to be equal to, so we get the values of on top there. So we get our 2.5 times 10 to the power -4, multiply it with the 1.65 times 10 to the power -3. Okay, so there I'm getting 4.125 times 10 to the power -7. Okay, then I divide that with my 2.25 times 10 to the power -3. Okay, so that will be equal to, so when I divide there, I'm getting 1.83 times 10 to the power -4. Okay, so that's the value of Q. So remember, we said we have all these other variables. What we are not having is the value of Q. But now we have it. See, since we have it, we can now calculate the value, the Gibbs free energy that we've been asked there. Okay, so let me just sub here. So now I can calculate the Gibbs free energy there. So I've been given the standard Gibbs free energy to be negative 30.5 kilojoules. So I'm going to replace that here. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to replace it here, which is negative 30.5 kilojoules per mole. Okay. Plus, okay, I get the rate constant. Okay. So now there's an issue here. The issue is that the rate constant that we've been given, we said we are using 8.314 joules per mole Kelvin, isn't it? That's the rate constant that we are using here. So now you notice the difference in units. Here we are having joules, here we are having kilojoules. Okay, so when you are working in such questions, make sure that the units are all the same. Okay, so in this case, we would want to convert these joules to kilojoules, or we can convert these kilojoules to joules. Either way, okay, so as long as you have uniform units. So I'm going to convert these joules to kilojoules by dividing with 1,000. I know that 1 kilojoule is giving me 1,000 joules, isn't it? So for me to convert joules to kilojoules, I need to divide by 1,000 there. So meaning the rate constant that I'm going to have is going to be 0. So I've divided 8.314 by 1,000. I'm getting 0.008314. Okay, so now this is now in kilojoules per mole Kelvin. Okay, that's what we have there. Okay, right? Then we also have to multiply with the temperature. Okay, so now the temperature that we've been given is in degrees Celsius. Okay, so we need to convert that temperature to Kelvin. So how do we convert the degrees Celsius temperature to Kelvin? So we're having a 37 degrees Celsius. Okay, so we are going to add 273. Okay, so when we add 273, it means that we're going to get our temperature in Kelvin, which is going to be 310 Kelvin. So we can multiply there by 310 Kelvin. Okay. Okay. Then we get the natural log of Q. Now we know the value of Q, which is 1 point. Okay, so I'm going to put that value of Q, which is 1.83 times 10 to the power negative 4, the one we found there. Okay, so we are done with the setting up the equation. All you need is to work with your calculator there. Okay, so let's do that. So I have 30.5 kilojoules per mole. Okay, then I add it to, okay, so here I'm having 0.00314 kilojoules per mole Kelvin. So notice that we're having Kelvin here and we're having per Kelvin there. So these two can cancel. So we have just remained with kilojoules there per mole there. Even here we're having kilojoules per mole, isn't it? Okay. So that is also helping us to know the final units that we're going to get. That's the reason why I said make sure you work with the uniform units. Okay. So there, let's do that. So let's multiply these two. So we get 0.008314. Multiply it with the 310 there. So what are we getting? So when I multiply there, I'm getting 2.577. Okay. So that I multiply with the natural log of 1.83 times 10 to the power negative 4. So you go on your calculator there, you get the natural log of 1.83 times 10 to the power negative 3. Okay, so there I'm getting my answer to be negative. Okay, so I'm getting a negative, okay, so I'm getting a negative 2. I'm getting a negative 8.61. Okay, so that's what I have. Okay, so this will be equal to 30.5 kilojoules per mole. Okay, plus, so I get so remember here I've remained with kilojoules per mole as well. Okay, so I multiply my 2.577 kilojoules per mole by negative 8.61 there. Okay, so I'm getting a negative 22.2 kilojoules per mole. Okay, so there you know that negative times positive, I'm going to get a negative there, isn't it? So I have a 30.5 kilojoules per mole. Okay, so I subtract there, I'm going to get a negative 22.2 there, isn't it? Kilojoules per mole. Okay, so we can subtract 30.5 kilojoules per mole minus 22.5.2 there. Okay, so what are we getting? So the final answer, the Gibbs free energy that we're going to get is going to be 52.7 kilojoules per mole. Okay, so that's the final answer that we have for this question. Okay, so you can access other exam questions on our website. Okay, so you simply open our website. If you are not having an Android phone, you can access our website on the browser. So let me just show you. Okay, so if you are using an Android phone, you can download our app. Okay, on Google, on Play Store. So you just type Discrete Learning Institute, you'll find our app there. Okay, but if you are using an iPhone, so let me just show you what you can do for you to access our videos on the website. Okay, so you can open your browser. Okay, so you open your browser there. Okay. Okay. Let me just share my screen. Yeah, so you open your browser there. Okay, so you can search Discrete Learning Institute. Okay, so you search Discrete Learning Institute. Okay, so you enter there. When you search Discrete Learning Institute, okay, so let me just do this. So it will bring folders that will show the courses that are available. So you can register to the course of your choice. So once you register to the course of your choice, let me just go there. Okay, so suppose if you register to the course of your choice, let's say you register for chemistry, you can go in the folder for chemistry. So let me just go home there. Okay, so once you register for chemistry, you find the folder for chemistry available. Okay, so you can go in the folder for chemistry or open it. So you find these folders. You open the folder written general chemistry. Okay, so we are going to find these other folders. So these folders, you can see there, they are topic lessons, summarized notes, tutorial sheet, and assessment. So if you want to access the tutorial sheet that we are having, so you can click there where it's saying tutorial sheet and assessment. Okay, then you pick your university, for example, UNLAS. Okay, so you can pick there UNLAS. Then to have folders that are showing semesters, you can pick second semester there. Okay. Then you open, you find this folder. So there's the one for July intake 2025, and for this year, which is January intake 2026. You can open the folder and you find the video solution for the tutorial sheet from tutorial sheet 1 to tutorial sheet 6. Okay. Then if you want the past papers like this one, the practical questions, so you can go in the same folder for general chemistry. Okay, so once you go in that folder, you can go in the folder written past papers, quizzes, tests, and exams. You open there, then you are going to find these folders again. Okay, so you pick your university, then you also pick the semester. Okay, so let me just wait for it to load. So you pick the semester. So if it's second semester there, you can go there. Okay, then you see this folder written video solution. You can open, then you should be able to find the video solution for some of the past papers and the quizzes that you are having. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video.